The Apologist and the Viking, a tale of forbidden love by Duke Bonanza. Kent leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. He'd spent the last few hours working on his newest article on dinosaur riding apparatus, and it was time for a break. Kent stood up from his desk, stretched, and went to the refrigerator for a lemonade. Heeding the righteous call of God is thirsty work. Taking a sip from his lemonade, Kent made his way back to his desk, sat down, and opened the screen on his laptop. He stared at his work, reading over it for mistakes, the glow of the screen lighting his face in the darkness of the room. Nearly perfect, he thought to himself, and he resolved to put in the finishing touches in the morning. It was time for something fun. Kent pulled up his YouTube account and began scrolling through his feed, looking for atheist content to destroy with his superior intellect and skill for logic. He watched a couple of Apologist and Godless Cranium videos. Then he stumbled across something new, a show on Odinson Media, hosted by some chap named Ansgar Odinson. Kent giggled at the name. He picked a video at random and leaned back in his chair, sipping his lemonade. He would soon need a refill. After what seemed like an eternity of waiting, finally the video began. There, before him, was Ansgar, the Viking king. Kent was instantly stricken by the bearded blonde Nordic beauty looking back at him from the screen.
"My God,"
Kent whispered, the voices of 1,000 Valkyrie roaring in his loins. Never had he seen such an example of manhood, such supple features, and a gaze as fierce as nor'easter winds, lips full and silky. Kent watched them move and wished they were pressed against his own. Lost in thought and filled with awe, Kent slipped into a private world of wonder and mystery where his Viking king awaited him. Crashes in the distance. A young stable boy finishes locking down the horses in preparation for the coming storm. As he comes up to the barn to head in for the evening, he sees a man on horseback approaching the farm.
"Health and happiness, young man. I am Ansgar Odinson,"
Ansgar said.
"Where is the master of this farm?"
"Health and happiness, sir. He is away seeing after the sales from the harvest,"
Kent answered.
"May I offer lodging? I have nice lamb stew and some bread and meat inside. I fear the coming storm will be fierce."
"Aye, rest and a bit of mead will do me good. I am weary from my travels,"
Ansgar replied. Kent felt a thrill in his heart as the big man dismounted his horse, the muscles in his thighs and arms bulging. He handed Kent the reins and went into the house to wait. Kent watched until the Ansgar disappeared, then went to stable his horse, a big steed as was necessary to carry the weight of the man. As he rubbed the horse down, Kent couldn't help but fantasize that he was rubbing down Ansgar instead. He imagined the Viking's powerful muscles first tensing and then giving way to his firm touch. He heard in his mind the hot, heavy breath and gentle moans as he worked the tension from Ansgar's body. Kent put away his tools and locked down the barn, securing the animals. Heading into the cottage, took deep breaths to clear his head and slow his pulse. He could not feel this way. It was forbidden. Upon entering the cottage, Kent found Ansgar reclined with his massive feet up on a footstool, drinking a horn of mead.
"I helped myself to a drink,"
Ansgar said, smiling.
I am glad, sir. I'm sorry for the delay.
Kent replied.
I was seeing after your horse, and it is a fine steed, sir.
Aye, it is indeed,
answered Ansgar, giving the young man a long, steady look. Kent blushed and shuffled.
Shall I fetch your dinner, sir?
Kent asked.
Aye, I'm famished. You'll be joining me, of course. I have many questions about the country ahead.
Thunder crashed overhead. The first gales of the storm billowed around the cottage. The young man moved to the kitchen and served up 2 bowls of stew, a loaf of bread, and fetched a fresh keg of mead. He set the table, and Ansgar moved to join him. As they supped and spoke, Kent felt a yearning in his loins, a deep need to kiss and be ravaged by this man. After dinner concluded, Kent tidied up and joined the Viking in the main room.
Come and sit next to me,
Ansgar said, his deep, booming voice sending quivers up Kent's spine.
Gladly, sir,
Kent replied, moving over to sit close to Ansgar, his heart thrumming in his chest.
I've noticed your gaze upon me, and seen the need in your eyes,
Ansgar said.
You're a very comely young man.
Thank you, sir,
Kent replied submissively.
Come, sit on my lap,
Ansgar said. Kent moved to where Ansgar was sitting, obediently settled into the big man's lap. Something firm and surprisingly large pressed against his buttocks.
I have been some time without affection, and your shapely figure has aroused me. Would you pass the evening in my embrace?
I am yours, Ansgar,
Kent moaned. Ansgar pulled Kent in to kiss him, and Kent exploded in a sea of fiery lust, and strangely enough, his loins went cold, uncomfortably so. Kent jumped from his computer table, pants soaked with iced lemonade. Kent went to his room and changed his pants. No small feat, considering the erection he had. The dream had been so real, he could almost smell the aroma of oil and man-musk the beautiful Viking had emitted. Oh well, he thought, the mood was ruined for now, but he always had later. He would return, in due time, to the simple life of a stable hand and the beautiful Viking. Ansgar, the picture of manhood, the mighty warrior, who would rescue him from his meagre existence and whirl him away to high adventure in his firm and loving embrace. Freshly changed into his bedclothes, Kent settled back and dreamed. This story is meant as satire. None of the events of this story are meant to be taken literally by anyone. Just a fun bit of fiction, just for a laugh. I love you all.
Alright, I can see that I will have the prince here. Time to win.
Okay, supposed to be breathing into his ears. So, I have been some time without affection, and your shapely figure has aroused me. Would you pass the evening in my embrace? This is hilarious. What? Why are you getting your voice in the thing? You can ask me after. Ask me after. Let me finish recording. Now he's got a bunch of shit to edit out. This is Duke's fake fan fiction thing. What he wrote about me and Kent Hovind. And I'm recording voice lines for it. God damn it.